Hi, my name is Clark Riddle, and I just took over as your Director of HR. Um, Thank you for coming in my TED Talk today. Now, thank you all for participating and calling in. I really look forward to going over some of the things that I look forward to doing, some of the ways that I collect numbers and information from the workforce, and how I stick them in the blender with the questions that y'all have, the problems that are ongoing, and I come out with solutions. Because I have a limited amount of time on this call and in this presentation to go over this stuff, I'm going to try to keep it introductory and simple. Um, you guys can handle more advanced stuff, but in our next month's meeting, we're going to really delve into some deeper topics. But in this presentation, we're just going to focus on our existing workforce. Because we're a smaller workforce, how do we maximize the value out of our limited resources? How do we retain them? How do we debug the issues that we're having with attendance or mental health or turnover? For those of you who can see it up on the screen, we're going to be covering 5 topics here, right? And how I collect that information, what I do with that information, and ultimately some actual figures that have come out of this accumulation of information. We send out emails, we collect surveys, pouring over numbers and plugging the numbers into software. And not just because it makes me happy, but because it helps drive the business forward. And I hope to show you the value proposition behind this and gain your support so that you can take that back to the employees and say, hey, that email that you got from HR, we really need that. Or when you see an employee struggling with something like mental health, that you understand how important that is to take action and be involved with them because it not only is it valuable to that individual, but it's valuable to our organizational success globally. So in our first stage, we're going to look at employee attitudes and engagement, right? We all would conversationally say that a general known fact is that engaged employees are more productive employees. And how here in HR we're able, the first step that we use to gauge employee engagement is those surveys that you get every 6 months in your email, and they're the employer net performer score. Sounds something like this. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the most favorable, how likely are you to recommend this organization as a good place to work? And the reason we send that out is because if employees feel like it's a good place to work, then they're more likely to be engaged significantly. So much so that the weighted averages on these surveys, 5 is weighted at almost 60%. We're really going after those fives. When I look at the results from last quarter, the ones and the twos and threes, they're nothing that stands out. You're going to have some disgruntlement either as an individual or within the pods, but those 5 4s really are something that we'll be targeting. And in next month's meeting, we'll really be looking down how we're going to try to individualize these surveys and make them more actionable with these actual numbers. The employer net performance score um, is the entry level. Other ways that we gauge engagement is through absenteeism. That's anytime an employee calls in and misses work, or a no call, no show and misses work. We're not going to count PTO days. We're not going to count policy excuse days. If an employee had jury duty or FMLA, yeah, please do your thing. But the days where employees are like, I just can't make it to work, or are physically or mentally unwell. Even for a smaller company, we had an alarming amount of uh, absentee days. So while the net promoter scores look really good, these absentee days, we really want to focus on and driving home to our employees how important it is that they show up and participate. 13 employees called in, total of 208 hours being missed. And in stage 3 there, you can see there's pretty alarming numbers. as far as total estimated cost of absenteeism per employee. And just so you don't think I'm having Excel just randomly generate numbers, I know the big guy is a big data guy. These are the numbers that we collect to get to those alarming figures on the previous slide. They include the total hours lost, the average rate of pay, and we can really see that it's important that even though we only have a 4-day work week, that we're really pressing to our employees that when they don't show up, it affects the team and costs the company money, and that we really enjoy their company. We really want them to show up and participate. One of the things that can lead to an increase in absenteeism is mental health, right? What do we do when our employees are out there on cloud nine because they're struggling with substance abuse issues? Um, Substance abuse, as defined here in HR, is any substance, any chemical, when added to the body, it affects our professionalism, our performance, and our perception. And we try to use that because we don't want to use terms like chemicals. Some people have prescriptions, and some people have alternate lifestyle choices or religious choices where they can still perform and be professional. But if someone is craving caffeine so bad they're snapping at their coworkers, we might want to look at that in terms of how it affects the workforce. Because things can get tricky with narcotics and because of the social ambiguity or legal ambiguity surrounding that, we ask questions to the workforce surrounding alcohol. Alcohol is something that is publicly acceptable. We've even promoted it at a few work activities. But again, in stage three, if you can see that, it still can cost us a lot of money. Again, this is where the actual dollar amounts that feed into that line 8, the total estimated productivity loss due to alcohol. A startling fact we came up with in our most recent survey was that in ages 25 and younger, we have 1 in 4 employees reporting at least social alcohol abuse issues, which can include binge drinking. So we really want to review our company's stance by not stigmatizing alcohol. We want these employees to be able to seek help and be comfortable talking about these things. But are we encouraging it at our work events? Maybe the axe throwing event at the pub isn't for us, but maybe we shift to a nicer restaurant, somewhere where alcohol could be served, but isn't the main focus of the evening. And that way, employees aren't coming to work with hangovers, are calling in, or covering up other issues with alcohol abuse. We do really value our employees here, and that shows because we invest in them with stuff like the Employee Assistance Program. Now, because we're a startup, the Employee Assistance Program has come under fire from some of the stakeholders, and I want to address that directly within this call. Our return on investment is really good, and we're reaping those benefits because of the smaller size. 9 employees used the EAP last quarter, but our return on investment was 320%. 320% seems like a great number because it is. It's fantastic. We're able to return money to the business by investing in our employees, but we're not just winning the numbers game, we're winning the people game. These are real people with lives that matters, and this is something that we need to continue to invest in. If we choose not to invest in our employees, if we choose not to address problems with absenteeism or mental health, and we just cut those employees loose, it can be costly. We really want to implement programs that help retain people. We don't want to employees viewing our company as a launching pad. Now, we wish them all the success and we want them to be where they're most comfortable, but we can do things to drive our culture in a way that encourages retention. Because in stage three, you can see how costly turnover is to us as an organization. One thing you all need to consider is y'all got me and I'm not cheap. You can see how much it costs to do exit interviews. And so I'm paid as every other executive here. And because I'm the sole HR personnel, I do all your exit interviews. So unless you're just really trying to help me pay my mortgage, let's come and talk beforehand, see if we can't be more proactive with our employees, offer incentives, recognition, get employees help when they need help, either with staffing or with mental health days, the EAP, help retain those employees. I'm actually running a little over, but I appreciate all your time and your participation. Please feel free to zip me out an email if you have more questions. Uh, these are milestones that we'll be looking at over the next coming quarters. We've already hit on quarter one and we're just ending quarter two. Calls for quarter three. We're going to be looking at addressing additional staffing and compensation needs. And then, of course, quarter four is our launch event and the recovery process dealing with churn from that. Y'all are great. I'm happy to be part of the team. Please reach out to me directly, either in Teams, email, or give me a call anytime. Hope y'all have a great day.